Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a really complex and often misunderstood topic. What do people in China actually think about their government and its leader, Xi Jinping? It's a question I get asked a lot, and the simple truth is, there's no single answer. China is a massive country with over 1.4 billion people, so you can imagine the diversity of opinions is just as vast. To get a clearer picture, let's start by looking at a major source of pride for many Chinese citizens: the country's incredible economic development. Think about it. In just a few decades, China has lifted hundreds of millions of people out of poverty. Many people, especially from the older generations, have personally experienced this transformation. They remember a time of scarcity and have seen their lives and their children's lives improve dramatically. They've witnessed the construction of high-speed rail networks that crisscross the country, the rise of gleaming skyscrapers, and the growth of tech giants that compete on the global stage. For them, the government is often seen as the architect of this economic miracle, a force that has delivered stability, opportunity, and a better standard of living. This perspective is powerful and deeply personal. When your life has tangibly improved, you're more likely to view the system that oversaw it in a positive light. This positive sentiment is also fueled by a strong sense of national pride. The government has been very successful in promoting a narrative of national rejuvenation, the idea that China is reclaiming its historical position as a major world power after a century of humiliation. This narrative resonates deeply. Events like the 2008 Beijing Olympics, the rapid response to national disasters, and the country's growing influence on the world stage are sources of immense pride. Many people feel that the government has made China strong and respected again. In this view, strong leadership is seen as essential to navigate a complex world and protect China's interests. This pride isn't just abstract. It's something people feel when they travel abroad or see their country leading in fields like renewable energy or e-commerce. Now, of course, that's not the whole story. Let's talk about the younger generation, millennials and Gen Z. Their experience is totally different. They grew up in a relatively prosperous and technologically advanced China. They don't have the same direct memory of past hardships as their parents or grandparents. Their concerns are often more immediate and personal. They're worried about things that young people everywhere worry about: finding a good job in a hyper-competitive market, the skyrocketing cost of housing in major cities, and the intense pressure of the 996 work culture, which means working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week. For these younger Chinese, the grand narrative of national success can sometimes feel disconnected from their daily struggles. They're asking, "The country is rich, but why am I still struggling to afford an apartment? Why is the pressure to succeed so immense?" This leads to a lot of online discussion, sometimes in coded language or memes to get around censorship, about social issues like involution, the feeling of being stuck in a rat race with diminishing returns, and lying flat. A counterculture movement advocating for doing the bare minimum to opt out of the competitive grind. So, while they might be proud of their country, they are also more critical of specific domestic policies that affect their quality of life and future prospects. Their support for the government can be much more conditional, based on its ability to solve these very real, everyday problems. And then there's the issue of governance and information. This is where things get really nuanced. The media environment in China is, as we know, tightly controlled. The news, TV shows, and educational materials all tend to present a unified, positive image of the government's actions and policies. This constant stream of information definitely shapes public opinion and reinforces the idea that the government is competent and working in the people's best interest. Criticism of top leaders is virtually non-existent in public media. However, it's a mistake to think people are just passively accepting everything they're told. Many people, especially the more educated and urban populations, are savvy consumers of information. They use VPNs to access international news and social media. They travel abroad, they have conversations with friends and family living overseas. They are very aware that the information they get at home is curated. This doesn't necessarily mean they become staunch opponents of the system. For many, it's more about having a more complex, three-dimensional view. They might support the government's long-term economic strategy while disagreeing with its handling of a specific local issue or its strict censorship. They've learned to read between the lines and hold multiple, sometimes conflicting ideas at the same time. So, where does this leave us? It's clear that there's a broad base of support, or at least acceptance, for the government, largely built on its record of economic growth, social stability, and fostering national pride. Many people credit the government with improving their lives in concrete ways. At the same time, there's a growing undercurrent of concern and criticism, especially among the youth, focused on social pressures, economic inequality, and the lack of space for individual expression. Instead of a simple love or hate relationship, it's more of a complex, pragmatic contract. The government is expected to deliver prosperity and stability. As long as it does, most people are willing to accept its authority. But if economic growth slows down or social problems become more acute, that contract could be tested. Ultimately, understanding what 1.4 billion people think is impossible. But by looking at these different perspectives, the grateful older generation, the proud nationalist, the stressed-out urban youth, and the savvy information consumer, we can move beyond simple stereotypes and get a much more realistic and human picture of public opinion in China today. It's a dynamic and constantly evolving conversation, and one that's crucial to understand. Thanks so much for watching. This was a really complex topic, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What aspects did you find most surprising? Let's keep the conversation respectful and constructive. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more deep dives into global topics. See you in the next one.